Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. My name's Kieran and I live abroad. Today I'm going to be doing a spoiler-free and spoiler review of the new Joker Folie Deux movie with Joaquin Phoenix and Lady Gaga.
They don't care as long as there's a jester, just a fool, as foolish as he can.
You may be wondering why I got to see the movie before everyone else. Well, actually, it's because in France, and I think in also Italy, the movie actually came out 2 days early on the 2nd of October. So that was last night, well, yesterday, and I went to see the movie last night. I got home late and then I've been at work today, so I'm just doing the review now. But yeah, I really wanted to talk about the movie and how it wasn't what I expected, but it was really, really good. I really enjoyed it. I thought the acting was phenomenal, of course, like what you expect is Joaquin Phoenix and Lady Gaga. I actually did think the music element fit really, really well. Let me just check some notes I made last night. But yeah, the musical element, I was a bit scared. Obviously, Lady Gaga's an incredible vocalist, never heard Joaquin Phoenix sing before, so I didn't know how it was going to be or what it was going to be like. And I'd heard from people who'd watched it in pre-screenings that they didn't really like the musical element, but I will say I thought it worked incredibly well. I thought it really showed the insanity of the two, and it showed the folie à deux, the shared insanity between the two characters. And without the music, I feel like their shared experience would have been portrayed as well. So yeah, I really enjoyed that part of the movie, and I thought the acting throughout was absolutely incredible. Some of the best acting. It is just some of the best acting that I've seen. The ending was a shock, a big shock, and completely unexpected. I did not see it coming, if I'm completely honest. I'm not going to spoil it yet, but we'll get into that later. But I will say the movie was just a little bit confusing. I don't know, the first movie was also confusing. I think that's just like the mind space that they want to show. But I felt the first movie was explained. But I feel like this movie, it wasn't fully explained. I'll go into more detail later with the spoilers, but yeah, I just feel like the plot of the film just didn't seem fully expanded, fully completed. And yeah, I would say that's probably like the one critique that I had for the movie was the plot itself didn't feel complete. And yeah, that sort of made it in sort of like a bit of a limbo. I sort of explained how like in parts it was really drawn out and quite slow, but at the same time the whole thing felt rushed. So it was a weird contrast for the movie, but it was still a really good movie. I will say I personally prefer the first movie in terms of like the plot point, but Lady Gaga just brought a different level to the film, and it complemented Joaquin's Joker so incredibly well that yeah, I thought it worked really, really well. Okay, so click off now if you don't want any spoilers, because I'm going to go into my spoiler review of the movie. After I watched the movie, I wrote down some scenes that I thought were really, really good, and yeah, I'm just going to talk about them. So the first scene that I thought was really clever was actually the first scene where they use music. Obviously, throughout the first Joker movie, music plays quite an important role. And the soundtrack to the first movie does definitely lead into the second movie, you know, with like That's Life and other songs. But actually the first intro to music, I thought worked very, very well. When it first happened, it's Arthur Fleck in the TV room of the asylum, and he just starts singing. He just starts singing and performing around all the cellmates. And initially I thought, is this actually what's happening right now? It was a little bit cringe, I felt a bit weirded out by it at first. I was like, this feels a bit out of place. But then right at the end, it clicked back to Arthur Fleck just standing in front of the TV, and it was all in his head. And then it made sense. It just made the whole thing make sense. It made the first movie make sense with the music, but it showing that it was going in his head, and now it's gone further into his mind and showing what he thinks he's doing, but in reality, he's not actually doing it. So yeah, I thought the introduction of the musical element went really well, really clever to do it that way. And then the next scene that I thought was really incredible It was quite a bit further into the movie actually, but the scene between Arthur and Lee in the visiting room, when Gaga sings "Close to You," it was just amazing. Like Gaga's acting was so incredible, and you could see like the desire in her eyes, but also the insanity and obsession that she has with the Joker. It was just, it gave me chills. The vocals were insane. It was a really good scene. Yeah, and again, this musical element really pulling through in the movie itself. The next scene that I really, really enjoyed, actually I think it's probably one of the best for the entire movie, was the Gonna Build a Mountain scene. It's when they're on, it's a scene that we've seen on from the trailer where Gaga's at the piano. And yeah, it's just that scene, it's got so much energy and it's so fun, and like all the backing singers and the band are all just in it, and it just feels like they're actually, you know, it's the Joker and the Harley show, you know, it feels real, it feels like it's not in their head, it is actually something that's happening. And it was just a really fun scene, and I can't even talk about Gaga's vocals in that scene. They were just some of the best that she's ever done. Like it just blows me away. It really, really does. Okay, so the next scene that really, really like intrigued me, actually, so the next scene that really shocked me actually was the courtroom explosion. I think he might have been in one of the trailers. I seem to remember it after I've watched it, but I just completely wasn't seeing it. It actually made me jump in the cinema. Like I was shocked when it happened, and I couldn't believe it. It's sort of the climax, I suppose, of the movie, which I don't think worked as well as the first movie. I think the first movie, you know, it was long, it was drawn out, but it really built up to that moment where he kills Murray on the show. It worked really well and built up to that. But this like explosion, it didn't feel like the tension built enough throughout the movie for this explosion, but it was unexpected, it was shocking, and it was, you know, I couldn't believe it had happened actually. And then we sort of just have like a flashes of different scenes, you know, the Joker running, and then we have Harley or Lee in her apartment with a gun to her head because she's like fallen out of love with Arthur because, well, she was in love with the Joker, not Arthur, and Arthur's come out saying he isn't the Joker, he's just Arthur. And she has a gun to her head, and that scene was, as a little monster, was kind of like shocking. Didn't really want to see that, but you know, it's acting and the emotion in her eyes, it was like it looked like she really wanted to do it. And then that's where my question is starts come in. Like, I'm not sure, I don't know, did she actually shoot then, or did she not? Because it really felt like Gaga's character just didn't exist, which sounds weird, but I don't know, like, I don't know what everything that she did, I don't know whether she actually did it, which sounds weird to explain, but yeah, like, I feel like to compare it with the first movie is when Arthur has a relationship with his the woman who lives on the same floor as him in his apartment. No, I can't remember her name, but like, we then at the end during the movie we see him in her apartment. She realizes he's there, she's shocked, asks him to leave, and then we get flashbacks seeing all the scenes with them together weren't actually real, which made sense. But for some reason, like, all the scenes with Harley sort of felt the same as that. Like, they were in Arthur's head and she wasn't actually there. Or she wasn't actually as psychotic as Arthur saw her, because the lawyer reveals that she's a psychiatrist and she committed herself to this arm to meet him. So I don't know whether she was real, whether she shot herself at the end, whether the final scene with her and Joker was real. On the scene, like on the stairs, when they're on the stairs and Harley just like leaves Arthur and then he goes back to prison about the asylum. Like, I didn't feel like her character was explained enough, and that's something that I really thought, like, Gaga really brought the character to life. Like, through her acting, you could tell that she gave Harley a backstory, but when the backstory wasn't explained, if that makes sense. So Gaga's acting was so incredible that you really felt you knew Harley and who she was. But when you actually look at the story as a whole, you know nothing about her. She's like a complete mystery. you know, she told Arthur one thing, the lawyer told another, and then she seems all mysterious. And like the relationship was like, it was like a quick session of like 5 scenes from just meeting and then like having sex in a cell. It was really quick and really weird, but yeah, that's why I thought that it was really quick and really weird, and that's why I thought the movie was a little rushed. But Gaga was really, really good, and she complimented Arthur's Joker really well. And then like the final thing I want to say is like the scene at the end when Joker dies, I don't think sits quite right with me. I feel like it shouldn't have ended that way. I really thought, for me, like the best way it could have ended was he was actually going to someone he had a visit. He was actually going to visit someone in the asylum. Someone had come to visit him, and I thought a good way to end it would be he sits down and then the camera pans and it shows the person he's with, and it's Harley but dressed in like a psychiatrist's uniform. And actually the only thing that happened was she committed herself, like she went into the prison to meet him, to assess him, and it's just that first scene when they first meet that's actually real, where she just like tells him the lies to get him to get obsessed with her, and then she's been studying him, and that would have been a really interesting ending, I think. To then they could, you know, follow up with more movies perhaps. I feel like it's had its time, but Gaga definitely wants to work more with Harley. She did say she wasn't finished with the character, and I feel like if they ended it that way, we could have definitely seen how we've seen her as psychotic. Now she's actually insane and a psychiatrist, and then we could actually see a movie where we see her fall into psychosis and actually fall in love with the Joker. That could have been really good. But yeah, overall, brilliant movie. Really, it was really good. It was shocking. It was really shocking at times. The acting was phenomenal, as I said before. Overall, a great movie. Just, I feel like the plot wasn't fully there, but you know, a lot of films and TV shows that have been coming out recently haven't had like a brilliant plot line. Like the writing has not been great for a lot of things. But it was still really good. It was still really good. I'm not knocking it or anything. Just as a movie, the first one was better, but obviously Gaga being in it and being a little monster, it really was incredible, and she really was incredible. So that was my review of Joker, Folie, Deux. Hope you enjoyed. If you did, please like and subscribe to the channel. It would be really appreciated. But yeah, thank you, and I'll see you soon. Bye.